Hi guys, I'm back to another GGF video. Now today we're going to be checking out the brand new Phanteks Evolv ATX tempered glass edition case. We've got the Galaxy Silver version here. Our good friends at PC Case Gear sent this over for us to check out. We'll be doing this video, we'll be doing a sick build in it. It's not going to be this build here. The build we've done is just purely this time to show this case, what it can do, how it performs in this video. Then later on we're going to be doing a full custom build that's going to have 3 video cards. It's going to be pretty crazy. But PC Case also sent us the Phanteks. You can get some upgrade options with this case. You can get the Rgb strips that work with this case. That's an upgrade option. So they sent us 2 meters of that. You can't see them here because they're already in the case. And they also sent us the little conversion adapter if you have a ASUS board that supports the Aura feature, which is the one where it's got the 2 Rgb strip headers on your motherboard. So you can actually hook this whole case up to one of your ASUS motherboards that supports that feature, and you can change things like this light here can connect to the motherboard. There's a power LED up here that connects to the motherboard, and then you can connect the whole LED strip inside to the motherboard. So if you want to set your if you're not familiar with the Aura features, you can set it so it can monitor your CPU temperature. So say when your system's cool, all your lighting is blue. When it starts to heat up, your lighting goes red. So it's got some nice features like that. Now you don't have to buy this little conversion kit. I'm not sure how much this is. You can just run the whole, the Rgb strip, this top LED and the bottom LED off the stock kit that comes with the case. All you have to do is to change the LED cycle. You just hit this little button here and that'll cycle through different modes. So you don't have to hook it onto your motherboard. So yeah, so I'm going to go through this case, go over the features, everything like that. Then I'm going to throw a system in and then we'll jump in Windows and we'll play around with the ASUS Aura lighting effects. Alrighty guys, now as I said earlier, I'm just going to quickly do a quick sort of overview on this case, because what I want to do is the guys at PC Case also sent us over a Phanteks Rgb Magnetic Strip. Now this is a whopping 2 meters, so it's going to be sweet to throw this in the system. And I also want to do this in conjunction with using a board that supports the ASUS Aura feature, which is the 2 strip headers down the bottom here. Now I want to try and throw that all in, quickly throw an OS onto this system and show you how you can incorporate the LED strips into this case onto the motherboard, and you can have special effects like, say, if my PC is overheating, it's getting up to 60-70 degrees, you can have your whole LED strip change color. When it's really cool, it can change color to say blue. So pretty sweet little things like that. So, but first of all, I do want to cover this case. This is the brand new case from Phanteks. It is the Evolv. It is the full ATX size. It won't take quad SLI. It'll only take 3-way, as it does only have 7 slots. You'll need at least 8 to do 4-way, unless you are going to do some hacking of your video cards to get them down to single slot, which is pretty hard to do these days. And now this is the Galaxy Silver. As you can see, very, very nice silver. Now I am used to reviewing or checking out high quality cases. Now I come from a lot of in-win cases now, but bear in mind they are the utmost quality, but you'll pay for the quality. Some of those cases are upwards of $1,000 and more. Now this one comes in at $279 at PC Case Gear, which I think so far is a fantastic price for what you get. So far I haven't seen one little bit of plastic on here. Everything's either aluminium. You got nice tempered glass side panels on each side. It is sort of tinted a bit, nothing crazy, and it does have sort of a black bead around the side, which I do like, because that is hiding the sort of foam padding around the side and a bit of the sort of ugliness of the black material, which is nice. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll just, first of all, I'll take off this side panel because it probably is creating a bit of a reflection. But yeah, this will pretty much be sort of my first impressions. I haven't spent much time on this case. I've literally just opened it up, done a quick once over to see what it's like, and then I thought I'll just shoot this video and we'll go from there. I will be doing a full build in this. The build I'm doing to demo this video is not going to be the full build. bear in mind I will be doing a full a water loop build in this. I'll be doing this a little bit later on, and I will be showing you that build once it's done, and then I'll be coming back and showing you more of my thoughts on this case once I have sort of worked on it, because you can't really I can't really give a review as soon as I've unboxed the case, because I have no idea how it's going to perform, what anything's going to be like. So I like to work on them first, then come back to you guys and give you my thoughts. All right, so as you can see, that is the case inside. You can see the outside. It really isn't a big case, I must say. The dimensions on this case is 495 high. Now that's not very high. The width is 235 and it is 510 in depth. Now the reason why they've saved a lot on the height is they've moved your radiator support all the way to the front. Now I really like that. A lot of Thermaltake cases are doing that. Instead of centering your radiator in the middle, which is going to then protrude down and hit like your CPU, your RAM, your MOSFET heat sinks, they've moved it to the very edge. Now this will allow you to drop a larger radiator down and it can surpass your memory and things like that. So I like that. You can keep the case relatively small. Along the front as well, you can fit a 360 in the front, you can fit a 360 on the top. You're not going to be able to run two 360s at the same time unless they're very, very thin. My plan is to put a nice beefy 360 in the front, because you can remove this compartment so it drops down, and I'll be putting a nice thick 240 up the top. Now that'll be ample cooling for three-way. I will be going three-way, and I'll be going with a Skylake CPU. So that'll be a nice little system there. What we might do is we might start on the back. So as you can see, this whole top panel can come off. I'll get to that a little bit later on. I'll grab a screwdriver and start dismantling some stuff later. On the back here we have your standard 120/140mm fan radiator sort of area. I do like this is slotted, so that is very nice. You can move it up, down. I really like that with all-in-one coolers. Sometimes where the ports, you've got this sort of the top area of the radiator can be a bit bulky. That gives you adjustments to clear things like motherboards and things like that. Now, as I said earlier, 7 slots. That's going to stop you from running quad SLI, but I think if you're going to get a system like this, you're probably not going to be jamming in 4 video cards for that. Moving down below, the power supply is a standard sort of power supply area. No sort of area that screws onto the power supply, then the power supply slides in. You've got to insert the power supply from inside. I'm probably going to say the back. It'll slide in and then you'll screw it in. Now we do have down the bottom just a fan filter that covers the power supply compartment. That is nice. All right, so moving on to some more areas. Now this board will take up to EATX. Now bear in mind, it says EATX, but it's limited to 264mm wide. So I'm not sure if there's a variant of EATX, but I was led to believe that EATX was EATX, that was a standard, but maybe there's different sizes of EATX because they have listed it up to 264mm wide. Only I can see the issue is the motherboard tray is slightly curved. It comes a sort of dog legs out of it, and I think that's what's going to be stopping some motherboards, but it does say up to EATX 264mm wide. So if you are thinking of purchasing this case and you do have an EATX, not a lot of boards are. Normally sort of a very, very high-end X99s will be EATX, so just measure that beforehand. And moving on to things like hard drive and SSD support. Now this has support for 8 3.5 inch, but it comes with support for 5. So it comes with 3 drop-in trays on this side here. So I believe it can take 2 more, but it comes with 3 drop-in trays for your mechanical hard drives. And there is a little bay here underneath that takes 2 mechanical hard drives, which is pretty sweet. Keeps it out of the way. So if you are doing water cooling, you can stick to a 240 here, but you can still have 2 hard drives down there. I'm not sure if too many people do run mechanical hard drives these days. I do like a beefy storage drive, but a lot of people just stick to SSDs these days. Now moving on to SSD support, we have 3 internal, so we got 2 behind the motherboard tray, and then we have 1 over here. And no doubt you can probably use the 3.5 inch ones up here. You could probably add SSD. You'll have to check the caddies in the box, but no doubt those caddies will probably take an SSD as well. All right, now moving on to the front. Now if you look at the front, it's got a gorgeous front, very, very simple. Some people will like it, some people won't. No CD-ROM bays, 5 1/4, none of that. You're not going to be able to be putting a CD-ROM, Blu-ray, or any bay reses, which I think is fine. A lot of that is going out these days. You've just got the nice power light down there. This is really nice, and this is very solid. I'm not sure what thickness this is, but I'll probably say this is at least 3mm aluminium all the way around, which is nice. And then on here, you're probably wondering what this is. This is just a little cover. So you simply just push it up like that. So you just hold the top bit and it slides up, and that houses your two USB 3.0, your microphone, your headphone, and that'll be the reset button. Now, if you're wondering where the power button is, that is up on the top. I'll get a shot of that. So you've got your nice power button along there. And I do really like these little vents on the side here. So when I am doing this build, I'll be doing a yellow theme. I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy because I've got a really short time to do this build. I'm thinking I might actually paint the little bits of mesh you can see through yellow. And I want to preserve this really nice silver aluminium look on the outside. Now, taking a look at the back, you can see there's quite a bit going on here. We've got a stock sort of fan sort of controller, not really a controller, but sort of just a fan bus that gives you plenty of options for your fans, two motherboard CPU fan. We've got power connectors here. We've got things going everywhere. So that's a nice little sort of kit there. I might actually read the manual to see exactly what this does, because the fact that it says you can hook this to your CPU fan header on your motherboard, it looks like you can control some of this gear through your motherboard. So when I do the rest of this, I'll come back to that. It's sort of nice that they've included that. These will be your power for it. We've got a little light power that runs along to do the light at the front, which is along there. So that's a nice little feature. We've got some really nice Phanteks sort of Velcro sort of cable management straps there. That is nice. So cable management shouldn't be too bad. I'm looking at the back, there's not a whole lot of room to work on, but the beauty with this case is you've got all this room underneath, and if you aren't using these hard drives down the bottom here, you've got all this room down there as well. And you've also got this area up here, which is slightly a bit wider than this bit here. Now, looking at these SATA caddies, these are simply just drop straight in. So these, you just install your SSDs on the side, then you just line them up, and they just push in quite tight like that. So they're easy, hot swap, drop them in. Now, going back to the drive caddies, all the 3.5-inch mechanical hard drive caddies do have support for SSDs. So that's one thing I wanted to make sure of. Now, this is the little packaging box you get. Now, it's a really nice sort of box. It's an accessories box. You've got, I don't think I've seen a manual this good. It's really nice. Plenty of photos, tells you everything what to do. And we'll just go through some of the items you do get. Now, as I mentioned, this front can take the 3 drop-in drive sort of caddies. Now, these are them there. They do take SSDs, which I wasn't quite sure of before. They do have some zip ties. We have a really nice accessories box. Now, that's really nice. Haven't seen too many cases that come with that included, and that's just simply just sort of locks like that. Plenty of screws in there to keep you going. See what other things we get in this little box. This will be the little SSD. Actually, no. This is a pump mount, so you can actually install a pump underneath here, so that's really nice. I'll definitely be checking that out. Probably not this time because I won't be installing a pump when I'm doing this video, but later on I'll be using this pump mount for the final build. It'll be sweet to see if I can actually get my pump. I do use bits power, so it'll be sweet if the bits power brackets do fit on that pump mount. And that's pretty much it for what you get in the accessories box. Those 3 brackets, and then the rest of the gear. Now, moving on to, while I was sort of taking the back off and having a play around, all this front is removable. It's just pull it out there, pull it out the bottom, and it's got like these sort of push-in dimple sort of clips, which is nice. So you can see how solid that side panel is. Very nice. And then same with this sort of whole filter area here. You simply, this little handle, they made it easy for you. Just simply pull it like that, and then out it comes. Now you have access to your fans, installing your radiator or whatnot like that. Now, it does come with 3 included 140mm fans, so that's pretty sweet that you're getting those 3. And now, did I mention the fans? Yep, they are the PHF 200 SP. Now, they'll do 82 CFM max, 19 decibels, and they will do 1.33mm H2O, so that's the air pressure. They don't have, 82 CFM, and that was the static pressure, 1.3mm, so that's pretty sweet there. There's really not too much more I'm going to go over. This is up here for your radiator, it is a slide out bracket, so this is on little rails, so you can install your, take this bracket out, install it onto the bracket, your radiator, your fans, whatnot, and then you can slide it back in to make it a little bit easier. Just saves you from having to try and screw your radiator into the case like that. So that is nice. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to throw a system in here. I'm going to throw this LED strip in, hook it all up, and then we'll see how it all works with the Aurora effects. Alrighty guys, so we've got our system up. Before I go over the whole system in a bit more detail, I just want to throw on a screen here so we can see how the RGB strip and the case interacts with the ASUS Aura software. So I've got it running up here. I've dimmed the lights a little bit just so we can see it. I'm not going to go over connecting it all, showing you how to do all that. It's quite simple. All you have to do is run this little converter cable. It's got the instructions to the motherboard, and then you just run it to 2 cables on the back. Now you must unplug the power that runs the little RGB controller because you will now be powering everything from the motherboard, hence how it all interacts. And you also need to turn off the LED sort of strip power with this top knob up here. You hold that down for 4 seconds and that'll turn off that little controller, because you don't want this little controller being powered by the one on the motherboard, because then they'll both be conflicting. Alright, so we've got it set up here. We'll just go through like a few. So say we've got static, we'll set this to red. You can see that. I'm not sure how well it's going to be showing up there. We've actually got the strip running all the way along the side here, and then up the top and then around the back. But the top is changing in sync, and same with the front. It might be a little bit hard to see. Then we can change it to pretty much any color we like, and we can get that effect. But what I'm most interested in is the CPU temperature. It's also got music effect, CPU temperature. So if I hit apply, the only thing that is sort of something I don't like is you can't adjust the CPU temperature, sort of the minimum and the high. I can't really see anywhere. I've had a look in this software. I can't see where to do it, because if you're running a beastie system, you're not really going to sort of get up to the temps, or you might want to sort of change, say, hey, I want to know when my CPU is getting to 50 degrees, whereas this sort of scale starts off at green when it's around 20 degrees, goes to yellow, then orange, then red, all the way up to, I think, 75 degrees it goes red. Now, for me to achieve that, I've got a Corsair 110i cooler, all-in-one cooler, so I can start stressing the CPU, which I'm doing now. I've got torque core temp, so now that's pretty much doubled the CPU temperature. That's up to 40, 45 now, and the light has just changed to a yellowy color. So yeah, it's not going to get too much hotter than that. So the only way I can do this to show you guys, I'm going to completely kill the power and the fans to the all-in-one cooler. So we'll start to see this go from the yellowy green, and then it's just going to jump to red, because it's going to heat up too faster, because we've actually turned the cooler off. But I just want to show you this change. It's going a little bit orangey now. It's going to be hard to see, and then it's at about 63, 65 degrees on each core now. I don't want to run this for too long. It's going orange, and it's going dark orange, and it's probably about to go red, and there we go, it's gone red. Let that fan kicking. So that's pretty much how that works. So it is nice that it does interact with this case. I would just like the ASUS software to sort of be a bit more flexible on how you can control the temperatures, and maybe add in a GPU feature as well. I'm sure that's not too hard to do if they've implemented all this, but it is a nice touch that I think this is the first case that can actually interact with this software. Alright, so now we've covered the lighting effects using the ASUS Aura software. We'll have a look at the lighting using the actual case feature. Alright, so we'll turn it on. I've got it set to off now. We'll let that fan spin down a little bit. Now, as I mentioned earlier at the top, the reset button says it's a reset button in the manual, but for this system, it's actually the sort of LED control button. So it's got a few modes. You can have static colors. You can change through each color. They can just be sitting there. Each color can pulsate, and then you can have all the colors can pulsate. So you can go from yellow to orange to red to green, and it will go through the color loop. And you just simply do that by holding it down for a few seconds through each mode, and then it will change. Pretty much just like an RGB controller strip. If you're used to those, instead of having a remote, it's just all on the front panel there, which is nice. And then you've also got the lighting changes down the bottom here. That'll change to whatever you've got it set to. And you've also got up the top there the power button LED will change as well. All right, now I'll actually take this side panel off because you're probably getting a heap of reflections. All right, so it took about 30 minutes to build this system, so it wasn't too bad. Very easy case to work with. Very nice with the top radiator bracket here that was removable. It just simply slides out. The only issue I have now, this is a 280mm radiator. This pushed all the way, like locked in now, is actually pretty much nearly touching the ram, so there's no way I can reseat that ram if that is needed. I'd have to undo this, slide the bracket out a little bit, reseat the ram and push it back, which isn't too bad. But if you're going with a full custom loop, you've got hard tubes, there's no way you can move a radiator once it's got hard tubes in it. So just bear in mind, if you are thinking about putting a 140 or a 280 in here, even though it's pushed all the way to the front side, it will sort of nearly touch your ram. And I would say this Avexia Blitz is probably medium height ram, so if you were running anything higher, any crazier ram, you will probably hit a 280 rad. Now I did think that the fans would have been able to fit in this top compartment here. I tried to squeeze one in, but it was just too tight. So this is the way that Phanteks have recommended to install the fans on your radiator in the manual. Some other features I liked, down the bottom, it was really nice to have just these little sort of cutouts, not really grommet or sort of dedicated cable holes, just cutouts for things like your front panel headers, for your reset button, your power LED, and all things like that. It's really nice, especially for the front panel audio as well, because normally if you don't have any holes there, you got to try and jam them up somewhere, run them along. And also if you are using the RGB headers down the bottom, if you do have an ASUS motherboard that supports it, it makes it easier just to loop that straight under. So those holes are a nice little feature there. You've got a grommet here, which I didn't use, but I guess if you are using like this for a multi-GPU system, it'll make this easier just to run all your cables straight through this grommet. Now the only thing I had an issue with, as you can probably see already, is the SSD is upside down. Now all of Kingston's HyperX range will be upside down. This is a 3K, their 5K, their Savage, and their Fury will all be upside down. I'm not sure about any other brands. That's not too much of an issue. If I do reverse it, there's literally no way. This is completely blocked. You can't get any cables there. I'd have to do some modding if I was really serious about having it the right way, because there is a dedicated cable hole for it. Like, it does look nice. Just bear in mind, if you do have this case and you are going to upgrade the or you are going to buy a new SSD for it, just try and find one that has the logo the right way if you are sort of temperamental about that. But apart from that, the feet were nice. It's got these nice real structural sort of additions that sort of blend in with the top. So you've got the nice silver aluminium at the top, and you've got these nice sort of accent feet as well, and there's nice padding on those as well. Now moving back to the cable management over here, it does look a little bit messy, but I haven't spent any time cable managing this. I don't sort of review my cases and spend 2 hours making them look the best, because a lot of people at home won't do that. They just want to throw it together. I have had the side panel on, it goes on no worries at all. I am using custom sleeve cables, so they will add a bit of extra cables to the system. Now you can just throw all your cables down the bottom here, which does make it easier. If you're not using the hard drives, which I'm not doing, that was a nice space to throw my cables. Even down next to the power supply has about a good inch or so to store some cables, so that is nice, and that on there can just sort of get pushed back when the side panel goes on. Now where I mentioned this Pwm Hub Controller, this is simply just a fan hub. A lot of cases have been releasing these, but this one is, instead of just being DC controlled, which a lot of them are, this is also DC and PWM, so you can actually plug the output onto a fan header on your motherboard. Now you won't overpower it because you are running this off SATA power, so don't worry about running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fans off your motherboard. It does get its own power, but it does give you the ability to control all these fans at once, instead of just maybe your CPU fan, which you would probably have to do in other cases. You can control all the front, the top, control them all at once. They can go low, they can go high on different scenarios of your system. So it is nice that they've included that, and that comes stock with the case. Apart from that, that's pretty much it. As I said earlier, I am going to beast this up in a new build. It looks like it will be for a Computex booth. I won't say too much now, but yeah, I really need to smash that one out, and I'll be really testing this case in terms of water cooling. So I'll come back to you guys with my sort of feedback on that, because doing a system like this is pretty basic and all-in-one one video card, one SSD isn't really going to sort of stress test a system, but so far it's done a good job. Mind you, this is a 280mm radiator. There's not a whole heap of cases that'll fit those comfortably. Even a lot of cases that say they can don't often fit them too nicely, so it is nice there. But yeah, I just want to thank PC Case Gear for sending the case, the strip, all that stuff out. It's been great to finally review a Phanteks case. I've been hearing about them, I've been seeing about them, and it's been really nice to actually sort of check out one of their cases. I want to thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for next time.